Hey y'all, I'm back with another Cephalid Breakfast video. And in this video, I'm going to be running a pretty familiar list at this point. As I get closer to Eternal Weekend, I'm definitely trying to tighten everything up. I'm not really looking to be doing any sort of wild experimenting, and I've tried some cool different stuff on the channel with some different cards, different configurations, but I think with just a couple weeks left here, you can expect to see some repeat action here. This list was the list that I won the challenge with a couple weeks ago, and I actually did it again last weekend. I did the challenge, but I only got second place. I lost in the finals. Nevertheless, it's felt like this has been a very strong list. I feel like I've been on a tear with it, feeling very lucky and inspired by the list. However, I am going to be making one change, and so I'm going to be swapping this main deck Prismatic Ending for the third copy of Swords to Plowshares. And my rationale for that is I encountered in the last challenge finally some solid instances of Prismatic Ending being truly inferior in the main deck in 2 games that I ended up losing. I lost a game to Dimir Reanimator where I had the Prismatic Ending in hand and they got an Archon of Cruelty in play, and if I was able to remove that Archon, the game definitely would have continued for quite some time. But because I had Prismatic Ending, the game just ended on the spot, basically. And then the other one was actually in my final matchup. I was playing lands, and I had a Prismatic Ending in hand, and my opponent was able to make a Merit Lage. And obviously Prismatic Ending is an acceptable answer to Merit Lage, but the way that game had shaped out, I really needed to do it at instant speed. And they were able to get a Sajiri Step for my blocker. And if you can imagine, you know, if they, I think it was like a Narcomoeba in play, if I had the swords after they Sajiri Stepped on blue, you know, that game probably would have gone the other way. So there are certainly upsides to one of Prismatic Ending, but I'm also not a huge fan of one-ofs in the main deck that aren't like tutorable in some way. I would rather be able to find Swords to Plowshares more reliably rather than hope to find that one-of effect. And I think there have been some games that I've played where it's come up, but it is my gut instinct to think that this is better. I believe it was Ford from Cephalid Breakfast Discord who recommended the Prismatic Ending, and it was a good suggestion. I definitely had some good leagues with it, some good games with it, but my gut is telling me to go with that third Swords. Cauldron continues to delight. There have been a few games in these challenges that have been won on the strength of Agatha's Soul Cauldron, either being a redundant Ghost Vacuum effect and that being good enough on its own as Graveyard Hate, or it getting the first couple Nadu triggers that end up propelling me into something else, and or the home run play of actually getting Nomads underneath the Cauldron, and then your Nadu is a Nomads in core and Nadu in one card, and that happens a fair amount too. So hopefully we'll see at least some of that on display in this league. Let's see how it goes. All right, I'm on the play in the first match. Sure, I'll keep. I could try to turn 3 by starting on Saga, but I'd like to have a little bit more of a disciplined start and possibly have constructs available to me. Trop Ponder. This could be the Mirror or some other Nadu deck. Could be Beanstalk. Not sure. I'll Surveil. Another Cephalid's good. I'll play the first one now. I'll go Saga Cephalid. Okay, that sticks. Okay, so my opponent's like a show and tell deck. Yeah, I'll let them stock up. Ooh, Nadu is good. I'll probably just cast that now. So I have to dodge something really brutal next turn. I have double Force of Will though, and I will absolutely, now with Nadu in play especially, have no qualms about pitching the Thassa's Oracle. I like this brainstorm here. It gives me some confidence. All right, sweet. Okay, so against like an Omnitell deck, probably just want these 4 cards. Cavern. They could have One Ring, but I think I'm good on Pithing Needle. I think I'm good on Consign to Memory. So it feels like a pretty easy cut to just go those. Probably don't need the basic planes, and I can cut 1 Tamiyo. I want all the counter spells. I want Daze, even on the draw. I feel slightly favored in this matchup, so winning game 1 especially should be good. Let's do it. Now, in that last game, one thing I definitely could have done differently is instead of casting the Nadu, just pass the turn. Tried to play around Daze if they had Daze, but I think the fact that I still had the double Force of Will made me feel pretty confident. And I didn't want to, like, the next turn I wasn't going to have the opportunity to cast Nadu because I would have had to cast the Oracle. So I thought it just worked better with my mana, even though it played into Daze. This is a very awkward hand, but I think a hand that has 1 combo piece and then Force and Ponder, it feels like a keep. Just got to find a way to get rid of this Dread Return. And I'll certainly start on Meticulous Archive, though there is an argument to starting with the Nomads. They might even have to force Nomads, but I'll just get the Archive out of the way here. Yeah, Nadu on top. Sweet. That's how they draw it up. Alright, hopefully this Force of will get me there. I like this Brainstorm. It gives me confidence that I'll probably be making it to my next turn without having to Force of Will anything. And then next turn is likely just Nomads, and then actually play around Daze. Ooh, Brainstorm locked. Well, this one's a bit of a non-game, it's looking like. I mean, surely they have some counter spells if they don't have lands. But I'll go ahead and play the Nomads. Now, Show and Tell might actively just be good for me. I can assume they're not putting Show and Tell on the stack next turn, actually, because of the land drop miss there. So I'll take the time to ponder. Yeah, that's really good. Probably don't need the Tamiyo, but I could Tamiyo next turn and continue to hold the Nadu. Then I wouldn't get Saga. I think that's fine. I think between the Force and the Fluster, this should get the job done. Okay. Well, they did have the Shuffle effect this turn. Show and Tell. I think I still have to force this. The nice thing about forcing this is, let's say they put in Omniscience, like what if they had to pitch in Atraxa or something like that? Alright, well, hopefully what you put in is better than Nadu. It probably is better than Nadu. Well, I can try to Fluster this, but I know, yeah, like I know those top 2 cards, so. Okay, sweet. Well, whatever their last card in hand is, it better be good. But even if I get a turn here, this feels pretty precarious with Omniscience in play. Like I actively won't feel safe until they are dead. Okay, another stock up. I can survive an Emrakul hit, though I prefer not to. Uro, interesting. Okay. It's not very good. But being able to cast spells for free is quite powerful. Atraxa, yeah. Alright, that could have been worse, but Cunning Wish feels like the game. Let's just see what they do. They took Brainstorm instead of Cunning Wish. Or, yeah. Or no, they didn't. They just had the Brainstorm. Yeah, and then Shared Summons can get Emrakul. And then I cannot survive a hit off both of these, but I suppose I can still take a turn. Because there's a way that I could get like a Narcomoeba into play and chump, so I stay alive. So it's looking pretty grim. Alright, I'm just gonna scoop. I don't need to play through all these cards that they have. But the next turn, well, it's not going to show me. I was going to get 4 more flips. That was just so unlikely. So I think the scoop there is fine. I'm going to run it back with the same list. No lands. Okay, I can bottom Dread Return. I have a Force of Will. Well, I thought that game was over when they did not have that land. But the very next turn, they put Show and Tell on the stack. Backed by Force of Will. I thought at least I would have a turn window, but it really worked out for them quite well. I guess I'm just jamming Cephalid here. Force Pitch Brainstorm. They have Veil. Looks like it. Bit of a blowout. At least I can put in a Nadu if they Show and Tell. Just F6. Okay. Emrakul. Well, this is an interesting state. I feel vaguely favored. Let's see. Okay. Interesting decision about where to brainstorm. I guess I'll just brainstorm now because I have the mana. Sweet Cephalid. Get Hedge Maze. I should be able to win from here. I'll take a Force of Will. And I'll draw the cards. I don't think I need to go immediately dumping cards into my graveyard, but also if I do, well, I'd like to at least hit one more land. Okay. So now what I can do is I can play around graveyard hate by dumping all the cards from Cephalid immediately. So no more Nadu triggers. And then I don't run the risk of drawing Dread Return or Narcomoeba. Or I can draw more cards, run that risk. Maybe I find a Brainstorm if that happens, have a little bit more interaction. But it's really just double graveyard hate that I can't beat. I think I will start by casting Cephalid and see what they have to say about that. They appear to be F6'd. So I'm going to save all the Nadu and Nomad triggers for the end. And I'll just dump my whole deck here. I won't attempt to draw any cards. So I'll yield to that ability. There's a Narcomoeba right away. I will monitor my graveyard though, because as soon as all the bad cards are in my graveyard, I will start resolving other triggers. So there's Dread Return. And actually with Dread Return in the bin, I think now I can do that. So rather than just milling everything, I'll still save like one trigger. Okay, now I can cast it uncounterably. Okay, at this point, I'm going to continue to mill. Well, I'll resolve everything on the stack. Cool. I'll get the land out of my deck if there is still one. Just archive, so not really. I'll bin that. It's all going to the graveyard. And then I still have a Narcomoeba trigger, so if they do have graveyard hate, I can beat that. And now with the other Narcomoeba entering, I will draw more cards and save one Narcomoeba trigger. I don't have any more lands in my deck. There's Thassa's Oracle. Alright, so I cannot sacrifice this Narcomoeba, or Nadu, or Nomad. So I actually need to play another creature. I'll just play this Nomads, and then I'll go Dread Return, targeting Thassa's Oracle, sacrificing these three creatures. And it just works. Okay. Well, I figured I had the luxury of playing around stuff, but you know, it's just good to keep that in mind. Obviously, I do not want to pass the turn back to my opponent who has an Emrakul. So I had to come up with a line that won this turn, and that worked. So the Nadu flips right away were really good. So I feel a little bit lucky, and it was probably not good for me to force a will their Force of Will, seeing as they had Veil up, especially knowing that the next turn, it was unlikely they would be holding up Veil. So that was definitely a mistake on my part, and hopefully, or thankfully, it did not come back to haunt me too terribly. So anyway, GG. All right, on the play for match 2. Yeah, I'll keep this. I'll go basic Island Tameo to start the game and be able to back it up with Daze, or otherwise be holding up Daze. I don't typically like to start with Cavern Tameo, even if it's kind of unprotected, because that also lets the opponent know that Brainstorm isn't going to be great the next turn. And of course, it opens up one of your most valuable lands to Wasteland. So just like starting with this, my opponent was F6 there. Let's see what they're up to. Ooh, a turn 1 Dark Depths is interesting. I think I actually like playing the Cavern now. Just name Wizard. There's the tension between Daze and Urza Saga. So, alright, well, probably we'll Daze this. Let's see what happens here. There's a little risk to Daze. I do think this is probably like an Elvish Spirit Guide deck. I'll just Daze. Sweet. If they Elvish Spirit Guided there, that would have been really bad. Okay, well, I'm drawing answers to Merit Age, but I don't have white mana. Okay. Zurin Orb, sure. Cracked my clue. Another white spell. Okay, well, there's the Brainstorm. Probably end up casting it. I don't know if this deck would play Orcish Bowmasters. I think I can be patient. Slightly play around Orcish Bowmasters, and then also, as their saga is going to tick up, like if they are holding up a Bowmaster, make that the awkward decision. Is this ice counter? Sure. It'll be interesting to see what they get off the saga. They could get a Needle and name Tameo. They could name Saga. They could name Shuko. I'm not too worried about a Needle because my deck is, or at least the cards I have access to right now, can easily play around a single Needle. Okay, that's nice. And a Force. So now I have quite a lot I can do here. I could just go for it. That feels pretty likely to win, backed by Force of Will. If I Brainstorm and don't hit a land, I would be in trouble. I'm still very tempted to Brainstorm here. Let's see. Okay, found the land and more blue cards. And so now I can put back a Nomads, put back a Shuko. And now I have double Force of Will. And they don't have green mana that they're showing me right now. Get Savannah. Play Nomads. Play Uncounterable Cephalid. Alright, well, I'm having a hard time picturing what their hand is here. It could just be lands, like there could be more lands. When they went Dark Depths Go at the beginning, I thought their mana situation was really dubious, but they were probably just going for the fast combo and maybe were more willing to lose the Dark Depths to a Wasteland from me than an Urborg. And I mean, it would basically just have to be like Fairy Macabre, right? It would be very cowardly not to just go for it here. And I'm just willing to lose to a game 1 Fairy Macabre. If you play Fairy Macabre, you got me. They could have something like Endurance, if this is a green deck. And I assume it's green. I don't know any Dark Depths decks, really, that play no green. Okay, they just scoop it up. I guess they were just making sure that I had the things I needed in graveyard, that it wasn't bluffing. But I did just Brainstorm, so they should have had a good idea of that. So anyway, got there. All right, well, I definitely want maximum Lage answers. Pithing Needle, keep it off the board. Possibly Force of Negation. Probably not Flusterstorm. Shouldn't need Cavern. Probably don't even need the Plains, but I'll think about the Plains. Tameo's probably a cut. Maybe 3 Force of Negation is a bit much. I'll take out Dazes on the draw, but I'll consider them on the play. Are these more combo-centric Merit Lage decks? I do think having counter spells in general is pretty good, but I just like everything I have. I feel like really just being a Plow deck makes this a favorable matchup. Plow backed by Force of Will. All right, this hand is an unexciting hand, but certainly a keep. And my opponent keeps 7 as well. They're on 61. Sure, Mox Diamond. I could possibly Prismatic Ending that. I hate Prismatic Ending Mox Diamond though. I guess they'll let me decide, or they'll get to decide whether that's a play I have access to or not. Presumably they have a land drop after they do this. All right, so they do have a route to Merit Lage that my current hand can't really interact with. I'll get the archive out of the way. Would love to see a Swords. Don't need another land. Ooh, Sightcat Cub. I feel like I should let that resolve. Ooh, and Wasteland. Yikes. Yep, that's pretty good. I feel like there aren't a lot of Vampire, Hexmage, Wasteland decks. So my opponent definitely has a spicy list over there. In fact, normally those you know, Turbo Depths decks, they will like Blind Needle Wasteland. So for them to have Wasteland was quite surprising to me. I hope I don't die to this Cub holding all these Force of Wills. Pithing Needle, sure. Yep. 1 card left in hand. My own Pithing Needle. Yeah, so I'll probably go Needle Thespian Stage. I could Needle Wasteland. Then I'll play Savannah, Nomads. I can't play Savannah. That's frustrating. But it's definitely a route to a victory here. I might have to force to protect my Nomads. And now I feel like not forcing the Cub looks pretty bad. If I knew I was going to draw that Needle, obviously, sure, they're going to get my Force of Negation. Okay, not a great draw there. And I don't think I can attack into the Hatchery. It's not like I'm going to win that race anyway. Yep, continue to take damage. Yeah, I gotta force this. Just do it like that. It's not the worst top deck. And I continue to hold back here. So I do have a Surveil land in my deck. I am dead to their next turn. So I'll go to 3. I'll go to 2 when I fetch. This might just have me dead, right? If they get a fetch land. Yeah. I'll see what they get off the fetch land. It's a slight opportunity for information. Okay. And I lose. Yeah, kind of a bummer there. Okay, so this is definitely a spicy build of this deck. I do wonder if I have to worry about Life from the Loam. I'm just going to run back the list that I have. In this instance, I'm going to rely on my deck being like a pretty optimally built top tier deck, and their deck being a spicy brew of a mid to low tier playable deck. Oh my god, this mana situation's rough. But I am going to keep this hand bottom Ponder. And I'll start with Meticulous. I have a hard time starting with Saga in this position. Like, when you start with Saga, you just guarantee that Saga will be bad, unless it does actually get to the Shuko and that wins the game, and maybe that's fine, but, you know, this hand has a lot of potential for other things, so I don't want to force myself into that line. Okay. Well, I have the basic coming up, and I can ponder. Those cards are fine. I'm going to have to, at some point, find a white source. Mox Diamond, pitching Dark Depths. Blind Needle. They're probably going to name Nomads, and that is definitely not the best name in this situation, so that's nice. I will play Hedge Maze next turn, and is there an orb? Just play this out. Tough decision, but I'll bin the Brainstorm. I really just want to find a white source. That's the most important thing right now. And yes, Brainstorm does help, but I already have a Brainstorm. And if I get Brainstorm locked, then like yet another Brainstorm isn't the best. Boots, okay. Well, they're pretty set up here for Merit Lage making. I'm just going to drop the Saga and say go. I'm going to be patient. That was maybe actually ill-advised. Because if they make Merit Lage this turn with Boots, I'm in trouble. Okay, Saga. There's the white source, and importantly, that means I already don't have to worry about like missing a land and not making a construct, so. Okay, and Nadu is great, so I'll put back Dread Return, Urza Saga. I like just getting Nadu down right now. Savannah, play it out. I have Prismatic Ending for some sort of like flute or something like that. I can answer constructs, though that would be pretty card inefficient. Another Saga. All right, here we go. Force of Will, that's cool. I think having drawn Force of Will, I'll make a construct. And I'll hold up the Savannah, even though that's sort of the most mana awkward land for my turn. I can play at least slightly conservatively here. I would love for them to cast Force of Vigor right now. All right, ask and you shall receive. All right, I think I'm gonna win the game here. I'll just pitch the Ponder. Like, Ponder and Brainstorm aren't great, either one when Nadu's in play, but Brainstorm could help me put back, you know, the Dread Return that I top deck or something like that that's preventing me from winning this turn. They should have just Force of Vigored my... Okay, well, I have to pass the turn. But I should be able to survive, especially holding swords. And then they have to get Graveyard Hate. But I can just ending whatever their Graveyard Hate is. So I think the plan is hopefully they draw blank. I swords the first construct. They can attack. Hopefully they equip with Lava Spur Boots as well. And then whatever Graveyard Hate piece they get, I Prismatic End and then Cephalid. So I think this is wrapped up pending their top deck that's in hand. This deck probably has another Needle though. Yeah. Well, I have the answer to that. Equipping. I'll just swords this right now. Yep. Now, awkwardly, because I have Shuko and not Nomads, I can't do the trick where Cephalid just mills everything. In response to Nadu triggers, you have to have Nomads for that and instant speed. So the line that I'm taking could result in me drawing like a Dread Return or something like that. But that's where we are. Just have to go for it. I would like to end the game this turn. But because I can't do that line, it makes sense to draw all my cards Thassa's Oracle immediately. All right, just show me some lands, and I can probably win right now. Okay. Okay. Play Cephalid. All right, so depending on if I want to go for Narcomoebas, the turn is basically over here. Well, hitting a Narcomoeba right away was nice. Okay, there's a land. And no other land. I think now that I have... Let's just fetch this. Yeah. I'll get the Tundra. I think between having swords available for another construct, blockers, it's pretty safe to just pass, no attacks. And I should be able to get there next turn. I still have ending. And I have to discard 5 cards. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, just do it like that. So now I have double force, swords, and prismatic ending. I think this game is wrapped up. Yes, they might have even yet another needle, but I have the prismatic ending. Now, I had the answer to this the whole time, but my opponent did have a misplay where they should have probably on my end step, the turn before I popped the Urza Saga, if they had Force of Vigor at that time, which I assume they did, I think they should have gone for it there. Because they gave me another opportunity to draw Force of Will. They gave me an opportunity to get a construct and the Shuko and the first trigger, and even a second trigger because they had to target my thing. So they could have done it differently a couple ways. They could have just not, they could have only targeted the Shuko, but I think if they only target the Saga, they keep the construct off the board anyway. So I'm going to plow this now. And now, I mean, this should just be game. I could even take this attack, but I will not take it. I will just block with the Narcomoeba. And they're tapped out. I have Thassa's Oracle. I have the answer. I think they even know I have that prismatic ending. So, should be done here. Dread Return, terrible draw, but with Oracle in hand, it doesn't really matter. Okay, that worked, and I'll just go through this whole thing. I'll draw my cards. I think they know I have Thassa's Oracle in hand. Force of Vigor, I guess they don't know I have Force, so I will counter it, pitch Cephalid, and now they know for sure they're dead. And they know I know because their hand is empty. So, good game. All right, I'm on the play for the third round. Yeah, this looks good. No combo in sight, but definitely take it. I know I've played against my opponent a lot, but I really can't think of what they play. Maybe like a Depths as well. We'll see. Turn 1 Tamiyo, though, is sort of the marquee start in Legacy these days, so I'm happy to have access to it. And if they remove it, I have another one. All right, we're both on 7. I think starting with Basic Island seems good. Next turn, I'll have access to Brainstorm, and the Surveil land means at worst it's like a semi-lock if I don't find a fetch land. I also have Ponder, so... Okay, Tamiyo Mirror. Well, mine will flip first, most likely. And there's the fetch land, that's great. Maybe they'll force the Brainstorm. I don't want it to get dazed, though, so I will play the land first. Okay. I'll put back these cards. Get a basic Plains and play Shuko. And now the secondary. The wave of combo is threatened next turn already. I think if they just pass with 2 mana up, though, I'm not going to play Nadu. Okay. Well, who knows what they could be on still, though. It could be like just Dimir Reanimator. They Thoughtseize me here. Okay. Well, the Tamiyo race is on. Saga, that's nice. That's a nice intermediary play because then that can threaten their Tamiyo. I'll cast Ponder, see if I can get like Force of Will. Not bad. Draw the Daze. And then next turn, draw the Cephalid. But then I actually can't crack the Clue, because then I draw Dread Return. So I should probably do something with this Tamiyo, eh? Tick the Tamiyo up. And let's see what happens here. I might be willing to draw Dread Return because I could minus the Tamiyo for a Brainstorm. I could just get Entomb Reanimated right now. They liked the cards in their hand, though, because they cast Brainstorm with Fetch Land, didn't fetch, went to their draw step again. Okay, Tamiyo Race is on. You know, I think I just have to try to get there with my Tamiyo Ultimate. I'll play out another Tamiyo, because this Tamiyo with double Shuko threatens to pressure their Tamiyo again. But I think this is just how I should be playing this. Yep, they crack a Clue. And now we'll see what other color they might have. Interesting, okay. Swords my Tamiyo. Could daze this. I'll just hold back the daze. Ending. That stinks. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so they see I can make constructs. I think Force of Will is my best draw. Really interesting question about what to do here. So I definitely float. They fetch. I think they should have just not fetched there, because what if I needled Scalding Tarn when they have a Tamiyo on 8? They're holding up Dress Down, but they're not holding up anything really better. I think I can afford to crack the Clue with this mana. Yeah, I'll crack the Clue. Dread Return. Bummer. Huge bummer. If they have Dress Down, I'm just dead to that. Okay. Okay. Cool. Ooh, I like Cavern. I like Cavern enough that I actually won't even play out the Cephalid. So, see what happens next turn. Some end step. Probably Flame of Anor. I don't know if Daze is getting better, so I'm just going to Daze this, picking up the Surveil Land. Shocking that they didn't do that, actually, in combat. I guess they were trying to play around dying, which is reasonable. Yep. Yep. All right, well, it's definitely looking like a Nadu game. Sure. Presumably getting a Tundra and playing it and holding up Swords. Drawing the Dread Return was such a bummer. I will leave up the white. If I can get a Nomads in play, that would be great. Brainstorm. Swords. Okay. Well, they can't plus the Tamiyo, or they can't pick up a card with Tamiyo. They have to plus it next turn. And 5-4 Nadu will get the job done against it. Flame of Anor. Force Pitch. Cephalid, I guess. Yeah, I'll pitch the Cephalid with Dread Return in hand. Spell Pierce, brutal. I'll cycle this Swords. So I'll gain 5 life. And hey, replacement Nadu. Sweet. I also had a line where I could have just let that go. Brainstormed, put back the Dread Return, and then had Cephalid backed by Force of Will, except, you know, they have the Hearse, so I think this is going to get there, though. All right, that's sweet. I'll lead on that. All right, sweet. All right, so some Tamiyo deck. I want my Tamiyo answers. I want Cavern. I want Flusterstorm. And usually that's what I do, is I'll take out the Dazes and 3 Forces. I don't know if I have to worry about any sort of mana hate, like Back to Basics or Wasteland for that matter. I don't know if Cauldron's going to be good. They don't play a ton of creatures, and they're liable to exile my creatures. Graveyard Hate, not amazing. Think I will run this deck. All right, got the combo, can answer a Tamiyo. I'll keep. And of course, just random Narcomoeba. Like that. I'll start with Tundra. I don't know if I'll be casting Brainstorm next turn. Probably not. I could cast Ponder. That seems fair. Just start with Trop and then Ponder. Okay, I like that. I could have uncounterable Nomads and uncounterable Nadu. I'm just going to hold back here. Maybe next turn I'll go Cavern on Wizard, play Cephalid. And then if they target it, that would clear that Plains off my deck. I could also like Brainstorm in response. Even get a Narcomoeba in play. And then next turn have access to uncounterable Nomads and uncounterable Nadu, which is sick. Alright, some action here. I assume they're going to try to kill my Cephalid. Oh, Lorien revealed. Maybe they'll tap out for Supreme Verdict. Prismatic Ending. Cast with one color, so that's not enough to kill it? Sure. That's a pity they scooped that and messed that up, because I was really interested in my next turn. Yeah, you got to be careful with Prismatic Ending. And I could have Brainstormed there, but when it was going to resolve, or when it was, you know, when the Prismatic Ending was going to fizzle, I don't know, I just thought that was a little bit of a cute play. So, well, not an optimal match there for content purposes, but I'll take it. GG. On the play in match 4, this is a sketchy hand. I think I will keep this hand. With the rationale being that the mana is good. Presumably, or just assuming I don't have to force something turn 1, I can hopefully between the Surveil and Draw Step find a blue card. Urza Saga is a game plan, though it's a land. And I do have half a combo piece, so this is just the most bits and pieces hand I could imagine. But it's, I think, just fairly good enough. I'll start with the Misty Rainforest, actually, and see what I have to do. Because if, let's say I have to worry about like a turn on Blood Moon or something like that, it would be nice to get a basic. And I can still Surveil. Thoughtseize wouldn't be the worst here. Ponder, okay. Volcanic, Ponder, could be a lot of things. I think I will not Surveil, actually. I will. If they wasteland me, it's no big deal. I have lands. Shuffle. I know I've played my opponent before, but I'm not totally sure what they're on. And I've gotten out of the habit of like checking all the time what my opponents play when I'm playing leagues, and sometimes even in the challenges too. If it feels serious enough, though, I will. I'm not above it or anything. Basic Plains, probably not. I'm good on lands. All right. Well, this hand went from kind of sketchy looking to pretty good looking now. I don't know if I have to worry about days. I will respect days. There's no reason to jam into a days when your opponent doesn't have any sort of threat on board, if it's like a Delver deck. If it is show and tell, Nadu will be okay. Really depends on what they put in, especially since it's Shuko. But it looks like it's a tempo deck of some variety, so next turn looks like a safe Hedge Maze go situation. And it looks like they're looking for their threat. So I assume they have Daze, or Force, or Bolt, or probably multiple of those in some fashion. And they didn't shuffle this time, 7 cards in hand, so next turn they're probably dropping something threatening of some kind. Backup Nadu is nice. Nomads is probably good enough too, yeah. I will probably jam the first Nadu into a Daze next turn. Let's see how this turn goes. I could also go like, well, I won't have the option. Sure. And Dragon's Rage Channeler, sure. I'll go ahead and play out Nomads. I'll get a Tundra. I think after getting Wastelanded though, I now regret keeping Nomads. So I'll have to hope to dodge another Wasteland. I would love to get another blue card, because I will not be pitching Nadu to force a will to back up my Nadu playing into a Daze. But I would love to force a will to protect Nadu next turn. Let's see what my opponent does this turn. Brainstorm is good. Now, if they do play another thing this turn, if they tap out, then Daze would be a great top deck. You might talk me into pitching a Force of Will, pitching an Nadu to Force of Will next turn after, like, if I have already Dazed. Looks like they're probably just clearing my Nomads right now. Okay, another Dragon's Rage. I think sadly a counterspell is just so likely here. And specifically Daze. Okay, now I can force pitch Force. And I probably should do that just in case I get Wastelanded. Annoying they had the Daze, but predictable as well. I'll fight over this now. Yeah. So 2 of the cards in their hand are lands. They're just binning relentlessly off this Channeler. No, I will not pay for Daze. I cannot pay for Daze. And I just have to hope that between their draw step and any cantrip that they have, that maybe they're out of counterspells. Maybe I'll draw another land, so at least I'm not playing into Daze again. Okay. Shredding through their deck. I assume they're looking for Force of Will. Or Daze. My best draw probably is Daze, because Daze could answer a Force of Will or a Daze. And a land could just answer their Daze. They bend Force and then shuffle. Well, my very best draw is Coward, let's be real. Ooh, Daze, alright. Alright, it's go time. Force of Will. So presumably they don't have a Daze, but... and one of their cards is a land, right? I'll pick up the Tundra, as I can replay the Tundra. Wouldn't be shocked if they have another Force here. Awesome. Well, it's still a precarious situation, but I should be able to win from here. I will likely have to block and avoid being dead to a Bolt. So hopefully I can get some removal, or just win right now. Nomads, that's cool. I can play that. Another Brainstorm. Okay. Can play around Daze, though they seem to be out of counter spells. Memory's Journey could take them off Delirium, potentially. So I don't think I could take them off Delirium without flashing that back. So I think I'll cast a Brainstorm and just put back Memory's Journey. And alright, there's another Nomads. I'll put back these cards. I will fetch now, see what I find here. With just Savannah accessible to me, I'm gonna fetch, but I'm gonna pass. I think drawing 6 will be enough, and I might need to play around Daze to Daze something or Sword something. I'll move the Shuko to the Nomads. That could block like a Cutter creature. Though I think typically either they're Delver of Secrets lists or Quarry Steel Cutter lists. I'm definitely going to block though. I think that's just a must. Alright, well, let me draw my 6 cards. Okay, that's nice. I can Swords around a Daze. And there's the Swords. They can probably see, yeah. Cool. Well, that was very lucky to get that daze right on time. So against this deck, kind of the same thing I did last time, where I want all my removal, Flusterstorm, and Cavern, and I want to get rid of these cards here. There's definitely an argument, I think, to Cauldron over that last Force of Will. I don't know if they're going to be on something like Price of Progress. I will see if I like this Cauldron. It could be like correct to maybe have Cauldron on the play, Force on the draw, something like that. I'm still trying to decide that. Before Eternal Weekend actually happens, I should try to test specifically this matchup and Cauldron versus Force of Will. But we'll do that testing right now, at least in part. So I'll run it. And the reason why I like Cavern is two things. Number one, they don't have exile-based removal. And so nomads will hit the graveyard or other creatures, and it helps deal with Channeler. All right, this is a keep. Probably just don't have the luxury of Flusterstorm. If they play a threat here, I'm liable to just ponder. Yeah, I really would like to kill this Channeler, and I really would like my Tamiyo as well. So I don't want to play either of those key spells into a daze. Now, if they daze my Ponder, that would also kind of stink, but I mind it less. Yeah, that's perfect. I'll put the Brainstorm on the bottom because I'm going to be drawing all these cards by the time the Tamiyo hits. Next turn is just going to be Plains ending. Maybe I could play the Tamiyo if it really seems worth it. Okay. Alright, so they are Teamer. Wow, double channel. Well, Nadu is certainly going to stuff that. Ending this guy. Should resolve, I bet. If they forced it, I would probably play Tamiyo. Very interesting decision here about whether to play Tamiyo. It plays into Daze. Of course, I'm likely to be playing into Daze at some point with this Nadu, but next turn I do have Tamiyo plus Hold Up Brainstorm. I do not have Tamiyo plus Hold Up Brainstorm plus Fetch Land, but I also like my hand, every single card, so I'm not dying to Brainstorm. If I have to redraw some cards off Brainstorm, like it would have to be 3 bad cards that I saw off Brainstorm to really feel bad about that. Man, another Channeler. Well, they're going to be shredding their deck here. Getting Daze. They're getting low on cards in hand. But they have Delirium. So the game is going to get over quickly with double Channeler here. There could even be an argument to not even messing around with Tamiyo at this stage of the game. Just like Brainstorm it away. Because like the Planeswalker version is pretty toast. Yeah, I probably will just Brainstorm away the Tamiyo, actually. Maybe play the Cephalid then as a bait. Alright, I'll Brainstorm first. Okay, Cavern is nice. Lands are getting to be a little redundant. But I'll keep the Tamiyo and just ditch lands. And then I'll fetch a Trop and Ponder. Looking for like a Swords or Nomads. Is this getting Spell Pierced or Pyroblasted? Pyroblast on Ponder, eh? I regret that. There's plenty of things I have that you might want to Pyroblast, so this is a very aggressive play if you ask me, but maybe they sense that the end is near. Bolting me. They're getting very aggressive. I bet their last card is also a Bolt. Yep. So I'll go to 5. And I'll probably have to put both Tamiyo and Nadu into play. Just play Tamiyo first, and then Nadu. And just have to hope this keeps me alive. They had a quite aggressive start, and that is typically how this deck will win. Is a lot of threats, and before I'm able to really get my game plan underneath me. So I will have to, in the best case scenario, chump with the Tamiyo, block the other creature with Nadu, hope Nadu survives or draws me into a removal spell. If they have double removal spell, I'm just dead. Bolting Tamiyo. Sure. Brainstorm. Tragic. Well, if I make it to next turn, I'll feel okay. If they have a bolt, I'm dead. Letting me untap suggests that I am not dead. Alright, I'll cast Brainstorm. I wonder what they have in hand. Maybe like Surgical. Oof, not very good there. I'll play out a Cephalid. Tap like that. And I have to hold back Nadu. Wow, they just scoop it up. Oh my god. Yeah, I guess they probably have dead cards in hand. And have to lose their Channeler to my Nadu. And they played that game super aggressively. Like, pyroblasting that Ponder was, I think, ridiculous. When they know I'm a Nadu deck. And if they had just kept that card in hand, I think this game too would have gone their way. So anyway, sometimes, you know, what looks right in the moment can feel very compelling. And I don't know what the rest of their hand was at the time. It looked like they were just on a get me dead line, and they didn't get me dead. So, GG. I'm on the draw for the last match with another kind of sketchy hand, but I do think it's a keep. Brainstorm can put back the Dread Return. I can get a basic land. I think my opponent plays like Stompy decks, so that is concerning, especially being on the draw. But I'm going to keep. A Chalice would wreck me. Alright, well, it's not, well, I guess I can't say definitively, but it doesn't look like it's a Stompy deck. So I'll Island Ponder here. Oh my god. That, unfortunately, I think I'm just looking for lands. Yeah, I'm gonna look for lands, and I think between the two cantrips, I can find, rediscover a Nadu. Alright. I guess I should not F6 when I have days. Don't know what my opponent's gonna be up to here. Could be the Mirror. Portico. So that looks more like a Depths kind of thing. Let's see. Flagstones, alright. Well, I need some lands. Forest, that's a good pickup. I'm gonna start with Ponder. Okay, there's a land. Not exactly the land I want to see, but I can drop a Shuko. If I can daze something, I can pick the Trop back up, and I can just play a Tamiyo game. Crop rotation. Probably just force the crop rotation. I'll let this resolve. Okay. Yeah, just force crop rotation. And I want the cantrip still. So now I can't pick up the Trop. But crop rotation is always a fair card to force a will. If they drop a knight here, I'm going to feel bad. Green Suns for 1 is good. I don't know if they'll have swords. I'll play with Tamiyo. I'll equip here, see if this prompts them to swords. I will demonstrate some patience here. I'll hold up Brainstorm, and I'll try to draw through the last bad card in my... Okay, well, if they're going to swords, I am going to Brainstorm. Another Tamiyo. Well, this kind of sucks. If they can get another land in the graveyard, they can just attack the Tamiyo to death. Doesn't look like that's happening, though. Okay. Playing both my creatures out doesn't feel like a bad call. Because really I just want a wall in front of this Tamu at this point, so I'll do that. I do have to draw Dread Return next turn, which sucks, but with Elvish Reclaimer, it's not like Dread Return... It's not like a line involving Dread Return is really going to be that good. So I think it's going to be fine. Also, I'm going to get to make constructs if I don't want to ponder next turn. Okay, no constructs. And swords, sure. Okay. Maze of Ith. So that's kind of annoying because now I can actually attack. I think I'm just going to let this go and keep plussing the Tamiyo. Yeah, that's a pretty cool trick there with the Maze of Ith. Oof, Sylvan Library. Scary times. I don't know if I feel favored in this game, but I do feel favored in this match for sure. Cephalid, another Saga. I think those are fine. Probably should have stacked it so that I drew the Cephalid instead of the Tamiyo. And they can just wasteland me again, so I can't make constructs. Yeah, this game might be going their way here. Yeah. But I can play the Tamiyo. If I start chumping now, I can probably get to the Tamiyo Ultimate. So I will chump here. Next turn I play Tamiyo, and the Tamiyo actually will block pretty profitably. Yeah. They could Karakas the Tamiyo back. Another Reclaimer. This is looking pretty bad. Oh, I did draw the Cephalid. Fail to find. Play Cephalid. Maybe they have Bog in hand and they'll just scoop. I will activate this. If I can get another Narcomoeba, that would be good. Then I have the line of drawing Tamiyo and getting to the ultimate. But also they could just bog me. Like, if I get Thassa's Oracle in my graveyard, they could just bog me. I think I'm just going to stop here. I mean, I think I'm going to lose this game, almost certainly. So I'll have to try to win 2. Thespian stage, sure. Good to know about. I assume they were on depths, but it's nice to see it literally. I think I just let this go. Honestly, at this point, like, land plus Thassa's Oracle is probably how I win this game. So I'm not gonna let my Cephalid needlessly die. Okay, well, there's the land. Unfortunately, I've milled a whole bunch of cards. I think maybe I still have a Surveil land in my deck, which would also be a green source. Yavimaya, okay. Interesting. Why not go for Dark Depths there? I guess they have another turn to do that, depending on how they play this turn. So I'm going to lose my Tamiyo. Okay, they only attack with 1, so I actually won't lose it, but I'm not going to block. Have to fetch now. Get Hedge Maze. Show me Thassa's Oracle. Another Cephalid won't be good enough. If they have a crop rotation, I'm pretty dead to that. Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's good. I will probably, in their end step, after they activate Reclaimer, Memories Journey back lands. Because all my blue sources are gone now. Sure. Echoing Deeps on Flagstones. Alright, so now I have to act. Hopefully they don't have crop rotation. Target myself. Target Tundra, drop. And I still do have Cavern in my deck. Endurance. Alright, Endurance is fine. I'm trying to put these back in my deck. So, sure, I'll just take all the cards back. Totally fine. That does get the Memories Journey out of my deck, but it was gonna be gone anyway, so I think that was just a bad play on my opponent's part, actually. I think they've played very conservatively to have not simply made Dark Depths by now. Yeah, so they're just gonna kill Tamiyo. Alright. Yeah, that's really good. Well, it's something I can cast. Lands, yeah. I think I'm pretty trapped in this game. I suppose I could get the Cephalid and they like scoop to that. Yeah, this looks pretty bad. They can just do 19 to me as well next turn if they swing out. So maybe they'll take a card with Sylvan Library on accident. Maybe they'll, I mean, they've been extremely cautious all game, so maybe they hold back some of this stuff. Green Suns, probably for Safekeeper, yeah. Yep, and that'll put me to 2. Oh yeah, that'll just put me to dead. Yeah, okay, cool. Because they can put more, they're like sacrificing lands to grow their knight. All right, kind of a heartbreaking game 1 loss in a favorable matchup. So I'm gonna have to play well here and pick up a couple wins. So I definitely want to start with those 4 cards. I can probably just get rid of some counter spells. I do quite like Force of Will. I can get rid of Needle, and I can get rid of some number of Tamiyo. Maybe keep the Cauldron in. This should be a good strategy, I think. All right, Dread Return is awkward. 1 blue source is awkward, but I'll keep. I'm surprisingly far away from Nadu, so this is a pretty awkward hand overall. Opponent's mulling. I think with Breakfast you have to have some tolerance for awkward hands, but there is a chance this just gets really bricked. I'll bin the Saga. Hopefully I don't get wastelanded right away. I'll feel favored if I can make it to my turn and cast Ponder. Cool. Another Ponder is good. Don't want this thing to survive though. Okay, that's good. I'll play the Plains and sequence the Saga later, both for the purposes of constructs, but also the purpose of... okay, interesting. I'll probably just play Nadu. If they target Nadu with something, I'll get a Saga right away. I'm guessing they just activate Reclaimer here, get like flagstones, start that slow process. And if I can make it to my next turn without Nadu getting removed, I'll feel pretty good. Okay, yeah, the Echoing Deeps there did signal that they didn't have any more lands. Alright, I'll start with Ponder. Swords is good. Double Swords, really good. So I'll say no. Interesting decision about whether to go Cephalid here. I'll hold off on the Cephalid and I'll attack with Nadu. And then hopefully they just activate the Reclaimer, get a, you know, whatever, maybe Caracas, maybe Wasteland. They'll get a little value. They can get Lush Portico, which is cool. Okay, maybe interesting decision not to get Lush Portico there. I don't understand that actually. And another Flagstone. So especially if they want to keep playing that value game, the Swords is going to be really good. And then another Swords coming for their next thing. Yep. I'm going to hold this other Saga. I know I have a Cavern though, so I can Ponder and still have land plus... Ooh, yeah. The hits keep coming. I could even just Needle Reclaimer. I think that's better. Though that would take me off a construct. I could also get the Needle off of the Saga when it pops still, possibly. I think I'll just stick with the plan. I'll name Wizard again. And then I'll Swords this guy. Crop rotation for Sajiri Step isn't the worst here. I'm glad to have the crop rotation out of their hand, as it's not getting a Shuko. Alright, it's not getting, excuse me, I want to get a Shuko on my next turn. It's not getting like a Wasteland, and then I just have more answers coming up for this card. Yeah, it's fine. They see the swords. Still awkward. I would much rather have a Nadu in play than not. But now I will be able to Needle the Reclaimer. Green Suns for 2. Presumably getting Oof, I guess? Yeah. So Needle Reclaimer, Swords Oof. Memories Journey back a Thassa's Oracle. Very awkward to have Dread Return in hand. I don't think I can go for that line. I think the line is just try to get them dead with my board presence. I'll Needle Reclaimer. And I'll try to just not even deal with the oof. See what they get here. I'll just name Wasteland and Swords Reclaimer. And then hopefully get them dead. Flute sucks. Yeah. Attacking with the oof. Okay, sure. Okay, another land is not bad, because I can surveil. A bit tragic, though, to lose the Saga activation after needling Wasteland. I'll keep the Cephalid in hand. Fetch Meticulous. Narcomoeba enters. Cool. Another land is not very enticing. At least it's access to a basic. Endurance. Yep. So that'll kill my Narcomoeba. I will play the Cephalid out. Playing the Cephalid will possibly make them respect, you know, more graveyard lines. So maybe if they have like another Endurance or something like that. Attacking with Endurance but not oof is interesting. Oh my god. Lands. More lands. So I'll attack here. I do have to try to kill them here. But I'll hold back the Cephalid, which then can activate. Bog. Hey, don't have to worry about Bajuka Bog. That's nice. So I'll block and then activate. Milled some cards I would have really liked to see. Cauldron. Yeah, I'll try to push damage and just play the Cauldron. If they do block with the oof, then that'll be pretty good. Talon Gates. Okay. Yeah, that's good. But that's going to come back. Still attacking. I'll make the same play. And now if I can get rid of this oof, I'm starting to stack up cards that I can get some nice counters with. Alright, the 5/5 is back. Alright. Drawing Nadu there was incredible. Swords. Dang. Yep. Well, at least I'm going to get a Nadu. And actually, I'm doing this wrong. I should be playing a fetch land out first and now doing it. I don't have to fetch, actually, because I can... they have Yavimaya, but now my Nadu will draw a card when I activate Cephalid. Green Suns for 3. Yeah, this is fine. Could get like a Knight. Claimer, okay. And now I am drawing cards. Tamiyo, that's also nice. I think I can afford to do this again. Tapping like this. Brainstorm, okay. So I can play Tamiyo and right away should be able to flip. Finally get rid of this Dread Return. Sweet. Prismatic Ending as well. So I can Prismatic Ending the oof. Probably just win the game from there. And I don't want those cards on top, so I will fetch. I'll get Savannah, I guess. Prismatic Ending. Collector oof. Agatha's Soul Cauldron, target nomads in... Okay, they just scoop it up. Yeah. I had the Shuko, I had the cavern there, or the cauldron, so basically had won the game. Seeing what they had there, I think I feel pretty secure in this plan. Maybe if they're going to be on Oof, maybe another Force of Will better than Cauldron, especially on the draw. I think I'll do that. Should be good. Let's see how it goes. Cool. This looks like a really good hand. I'll keep. Turn 1 Reclaimer would be a little awkward because now I have to fetch basic planes first. Or I could just do this. But yeah, you can't let Reclaimer live. Hopefully I don't get wastelanded. But I'm trying to preserve fetch lands for Brainstorm. But now unless they have yet another one, Safekeeper. Safekeeper is good. I think with the Safekeeper, I'm going to just plan on dumping the swords. I could swords the Safekeeper and just use my swords as like a land edict. But I'll start with Brainstorm. Okay. I'll put back Narcomoeba. And I guess I'll put back the swords. And I'm going to go Trop, Ponder. And I'm just going to hope between what I've got going on and this Force of Will, I'm just going to hope that that seals the deal. Drawing into that Thassa's Oracle might end up being nice. Loam back the Wasteland. Oh, this sucks, but I think this is a force. I think I need to get this Nadu down right now. Yeah, I think so. I'll pitch the other Nadu. And then next turn, if they want to start dredging Loam, so be it. They'll probably have to kill the Saga first. I could also just go Tamiyo plus Brainstorm, but I can do that later. Force of Vigor right now. Okay. Well, then I guess that is what I'll do. I'll be patient on the Brainstorm. Surely they're going to start dredging Loam. Tabernacle's awkward. But I think they're going to Wasteland me this turn rather than Tabernacle. Okay. So 3 of their cards, Windswept Teeth, Wasteland. So we know Windswept Teeth and Tabernacle. I am going to flip the Tamiyo, so if they're just going to loam a whole bunch, that's not going to be great. I would love to see like Plains and Shuko. Oh, bummer. Okay. Well, Tamiyo ticking up though is something they're going to have to deal with, and I have Force of Will. So if they're going to dredge loam, that might get tough for them. Echoing Deeps will be a Saga. That's pretty good, but I think that's behind where they need it to be. Tick up. I will probably have to down tick next and get Brainstorm, because they're going to get to make a construct here and then make another construct. And they can even just probably needle. So I'll go ahead and get a Brainstorm. Cast it. Okay. I force the loam. Hope they don't needle Shuko. I think if they play correctly, they're gonna get me here. Okay. Sadly, they probably have enough mana here to construct plus loam, yeah. See what happens. If they get Graveyard Hate, that'd be really good too. Yeah. I just have to force this loam again. Oh. Pitch the Nadu. Yeah, this is going to be a tragic end to this league, I sense. I'm going to play the Cephalid. I think what has to happen is using their Yavimaya, can Memories Journey back to play around this Ghost Vacuum. But I think I'm drawing Thassa's Oracle. Yeah. I'm sure they're going to wasteland me. And then they just have me dead next turn. Dang, man. The double brainstorm lock in the last game of the league really sucks. So I'm drawing Thassa's Oracle. So I think I have a line. And that line is, they have nothing to start out. I wonder if they're going to zap this Dread Return right away. I get blockers here. Magically, there's like a land on top of my deck when this is all done. Oops. I could also, so I can just empty my deck, Memory's Journey back a land, or like multiple lands. They somehow don't have swords, and it just works. I have blockers. All right, I'm gonna try to figure out what's left in my deck. All right, well, I think I just have to empty my deck. So I have no library, but I can play around the Ghost Vacuum by putting back a couple lands. If they remove my Cephalid, I'm just dead. If they do it after I cast Memory's Journey, which is what they should do. Okay, they're hitting my Dread Return. That's fine. I wonder if I should Journey now. If they have Bog, I'm dead. I think it's safe to just Journey now. Target myself, and then target 2 blue sources. Just Tundra. I'll go Tundra and Trop. Okay. They have the swords, they just get me. Block here, block here. Keep one of these around so that I can play around like removal on Oracle. All right, can't pay for the Tabernacle, so this dies. All right, we've come to this. Hardcast Oracle. Well, my opponent is making me wait in suspense here, so I'll say one thought, which is when they tap the Ghost Vacuum to get rid of my Dread Return, I should have just put 1 land back in instead of 2, because I could have an empty library right now, and there was nothing really to worry about at that point. There was no number of cards I could have put in that would have made it safe to have the Cephalid in play still. I lost to a Swords no matter what. But now, like, if they didn't realize that line and they had it now, they would get me. I don't know if they have something here. Let's go. Oh, my God. That was the sweatiest finish to a trophy I've had in a long time. My heart is racing. That was so crazy, that last game, that I was able to thread the needle there. And it just goes to show Cephalid Breakfast has a lot of ways that you can approach the end game. And if you understand your lines well with Memory's Journey especially, you can pull off some games like this where I was just completely stuck on lands. I had to draw the Oracle because of all those brainstorm locks, but was able to just get another land into play and win. And even could have done it slightly more optimally to play better around removal. Now, if they understood the swords thing on Cephalid, I couldn't play around removal anyway. So, like, it would take them not realizing that and then still having the card to be in that situation. But, man, that was so close. That was a heck of a last match. And one that I feel favored in overall. So I was a bit disappointed with how close that was, but you can never be mad at a trophy. And I'm happy to showcase that on the channel. Yeah, I'll go back to my deck. I love this deck. I love this exact list. I think it's so threatening in so many dimensions. And honestly, when I play this deck, I feel like it's, you know, on par with the Dimir Reanimators and Dimir tempos, and I just feel like it's in the top tier. And there's no deck that I'm afraid of when I'm playing it. And it just is so fun as well. This was a really great showcase for it. I was happy to get a trophy on the channel. Honestly, I feel like I have been like struggling to play well on the channel and get good results. So this was a breath of fresh air. I was happy to showcase that, not have all of my success be off screen. And if you made it to the end and saw the trophy, thank you for watching. I think you saw a great league, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.